So Enlisted has given us a lot of new gold ore weapons recently and as of the past few months. And in today we're going to be doing the top 5 best gold ore weapons. It was supposed to come out an entire week later, but as of right now it is coming out right now because I was expecting something new, but it turns out there was nothing new. So in today's video, as of October 21st, 2024, we're going to be doing the top 5 best gold ore weapons in 2024. If you haven't liked, subscribe, or joined the Discord, I highly suggest that you do, but that said, let's get started. In the number 5 spot, we have the Brand Mark 1 100 rounds. This is essentially a Brand Mark 1, which is good and bad in my opinion, with a 100 round drum magazine on the top. There are a few things that are better than the Brand Mark 1. One of the things is that the Brand Mark 1 100 rounds has a better sight. For one, the ammunition is not in your face, at least not covering half of the screen, so that's good. On the other hand, the Brand Mark 1 does have a pretty good sight, has the exact same sight as the Vickers Mark 1. If you don't know which one that is essentially the British Paratrooper Squad Vickers Mark 1. This thing also is really good at suppression fire, but here is the massive caveat. It does come with the Brand Mark 1, meaning if you're firing this thing, essentially expect a Brand Mark 1 firing 100 rounds. And it does come with the good side of suppressing fire, but on the other side, it's not really fast firing. And at tier 5, which is what this thing is going to be used at, I don't really suggest that you use it because at tier 5, you do at least need weapons that can fire around 600 to 700 RPM, so that's that. That said, this is not a bad weapon, you just need to have some patience when firing. That said, let's move on to the number 4 spot, and that is one of my favorites, the PPD Bramit for the USSR at tier 5. Essentially, this is a PPSH with a suppressor on it, and it does come with 2 weapons. Essentially, this comes with the PPD Bramit and the suppressed Nagan. Essentially, this is a 2-for-1, and in my opinion, originally I will say this is really good. And this is really good essentially for the USSR in number 4, but the issue is right now is that the PPD has practically been nerfed a lot, and as of right now the PPD Bramit, it is still not really worth it, but it is a suppressed weapon. It means it's actually really good at taking out enemies who are not suspecting you or taking out AI. If you don't know, AI are not really good at taking out enemies with suppressed weapons. They react much more slowly as compared if you have a weapon that is not suppressed, so that is very good. That said, let's move on to the number 3 spot, and this was originally in my number 1 spot in the 2023 version, and that is the MKB-42W. This is the Walter version of the MKB-42 compared to the H version, and this is coming in for Germany at tier 5. The issue right now with this gun and why it was originally chosen at tier 1 was because this gun is getting outclassed by a lot of better gold order weapons. For one, the STG-44, the original one, when fully upgraded is much better than the MKB-42W, and in my personal opinion, this really suffers mainly due to the fact that the MKB-42W is just outclassed. The STG-42 does better, the MKB-42H does better, and the STG-44 Sniper does better, and that thing is really good. That said, the MKB-42W is able to hold its own in long-range combat, and it's pretty accurate. So that's that. Of course, there are much better options, which we're gonna get to right now. And in the number 2 spot, we have the Condr MG. This is essentially a 100-round German submachine gun that is essentially used at tier 5. This is actually a really good SMG, mainly because of the fast fire rate, and of course because of the 100-round magazine, which is really good if you ask me. The damage is pretty good, the rate of fire is really good, it is almost perfect, with the only downside of being an SMG, it doesn't have that much hit power, which is a downside. But besides that, this is actually a very good weapon. Highly suggest that you get it, but here's the big mention. There is a better weapon than this that I highly suggest that you get, and if you do not watch till the end, which is going to be coming very soon, I highly suggest that you get that weapon. Not this one, that one. But before we even get to the number 1 spot, we have some honorable mentions. For one, we had the PPS Vitalny. This is essentially a PPD Bramit without the suppressor, but it has around 97 rounds in its magazine, which is by far one of the larger magazines for the gun, and in my opinion is actually pretty good and worth it. However, the rate of fire is only 800, which is actually to its benefit, so that's that. The downside is the hit power at 6.6, so that's going to be a problem. Another honorable mention is the Condr MG 3536. This is essentially a Swedish gun modified for a German light machine gun, and is essentially at tier 2, and it's actually pretty good in my personal opinion. It's nothing special, but at the same time it's essentially a German MG15, which is actually pretty good. Moving on, we also have another thing, and that is called the Hotchkiss M1922. This has by far the most rounds at tier 2, and it's a pretty good gun, coming with 500 rate of fire and 30 round magazine, and its firing mode is actually quite unique. But that said, if you are wondering what is the number 1 spot, that is going to be a direct answer, and that is going to be the T20E1. Essentially, this is the American free-to-play T20. Essentially, it is fully upgraded at 15.3 hit power, which is by far one of the highest hit powers in the game. Rate of fire is 710, vertical 76, and horizontal 21. This is essentially a 20-round full-auto American M1 Grand with a bipod. Of course, it doesn't have the bayonet, which I consider is actually better than a bipod, but it's still very, very good. Highly suggest that you get it, and by the way, this is one of the best gold order weapons that you can get. It comes in both automatic and semi-automatic, and is worth the gold order. That's it, that is all it for this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the Discord, and I'll see you in the next one.